everyone, it's Hungry Masha. Today I'm going to make white chocolate mousse cake with raspberry. It's one of my favorite cakes for special occasions because it combines smooth and velvety texture of white chocolate mousse with bright and vibrant flavor of raspberry. Do you want to know my recipe? Let's go!
Go, 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 go.
If you want to make this cake, you should start the preparations 1 or 2 days in advance. You can even make it a few days in advance and freeze the cake. It's one of the advantages of mousse cakes. They don't lose their properties if defrosted properly. It's also easier to decorate frozen mousse cakes, and I will show you how to make it later. To begin with, we will make the raspberry layers because we will need to freeze them before assembling the cake. I take 500 grams of frozen raspberries and I'm going to defrost them. When the berries are defrosted, we add 70 grams of sugar. Now we will sieve the raspberry sauce to remove the seeds. Don't mind raspberry seeds, but a lot of people don't like them, so I prefer to sieve the sauce. And we will cool down the sauce to approximately 30 degrees Celsius. In the meantime, I will soak my gelatin, 8 grams of gelatin, in cold water. I use sheet gelatin. For me it's easier to work with it, and you can use powdered gelatin as well. If you use powdered gelatin, you need to take 6 times more water than you have gelatin. So if you have 8 grams of gelatin, you need 48 grams of water. The temperature of the sauce is about 33 degrees Celsius now. It's a perfect temperature to add the gelatin. If it's higher, the gelatin will lose its properties, and if it's lower, it will solidify. So we squeeze the gelatin and we add it into the sauce. Make sure that the gelatin melts. I sieve the sauce again to make sure that there are no lumps, and now I will pour it in the cake tins and freeze. Now we are going to make the sponge. To begin with, I will take 2 eggs and separate whites from yolks. We add 40 grams of yogurt into the yolks. One tablespoon of sunflower oil. And the zest of half a lemon. And now we blend this mixture. Now I'm starting to beat egg whites. I add 75 grams of sugar and I continue beating the eggs. Now we add our yolks. We also add 80 grams of flour with 3 grams of baking powder. The dough for 2 sponges is ready. Now we will bake it. We take the same cake tins that we used for our raspberry layer, because we need our sponges to be the same size as the raspberry layers. I divide the dough into approximately 2 parts. As you may notice, one cake tin is bigger. It will be the sponge for the lower layer, and the upper sponge will be a bit smaller. And we are going to bake the sponges at 180 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes. We need to cool down our sponges and we can continue assembling our cake. Alright, now we are going to make a chocolate mousse. I take 22 grams of gelatin and I soak it in cold water, as I did for our raspberry layer. So now I can put it aside. And I'm going to warm up some cream. 150 grams of cream. So while we wait until it starts boiling, I take 250 grams of white chocolate and I will melt it in the microwave. I will do it very slowly, 30 seconds, and I will check it in another 30 seconds to make sure that it doesn't burn. The chocolate is ready. The cream is ready as well. It's nice and hot. And now we are going to add the gelatin. First we squeeze the gelatin. And we add it into the hot cream. Make sure that the gelatin melts in the cream. Now we take our melted chocolate and we add the cream. We will mix it well and then we will cool it down to 30 degrees Celsius. While the chocolate is cooling down, I'm going to whip 500 grams of cream. I don't add any sugar because chocolate is already very sweet and we don't need extra sugar. And now we'll add 500 grams of sour cream. The sour cream should not be too cold, it should be room temperature. I have all the parts of our cake on the table. I have 2 sponges. I put the first sponge into the cake tin and I cut the top. You can see that it's nice and porous. I did the same to the second sponge. I have our cream here, 2 frozen raspberry layers, and the chocolate. I will put the raspberry layer on top of the lower sponge. I put some film inside the cake tin. It will be easier to take out the cake later. I also left some space between the cake and the cake tin. Now we can add the chocolate into the cream. We need to mix it very quickly. And now we pour the cream into the cake tin. I will do the same with the second layer. The cake started leaking, but we will put it in the freezer and it will solidify very quickly. Our cake spent a night in the freezer and now we are going to make the decoration. I will make chocolate drip. I melt 100 grams of chocolate in the microwave. I check the chocolate every 30 seconds, 1 minute. You can see that it started melting, but it needs more time. Our chocolate is ready. Now we need to add sunflower oil. We add half a tablespoon. I think it's enough. Now we need to wait until it cools down. We have taken the cake out of the freezer. It's still frozen. It's easier to decorate the cake when it's frozen because you won't destroy its smooth surface. I put the chocolate in a pastry bag and I will make the drip.